Hello, everyone, and welcome. I was gonna open this with the sun is shining, but nope, it's not. You're having a nice summer full of vacations and things like that, and suddenly it's the end of September, and you have no clue how that happened. Some of us, I imagine, will be scrolling through e-shops and looking for Christmas presents before we know it. However, whether you do celebrate Christmas or not, you are about to receive a gift of knowledge, more insight into Easy Red Mind. Now, I know, this was a very cheesy opener to sort of today's session. If you have expected real gifts, I am sorry for misleading you. However, you can still choose to, buy and implement Easy Red Mind. And what do you know? Maybe you will find our comfy Easy Red Mind branded socks in your mailboxes. But enough of this. You are not here to listen to my small talk. So allow me to start sharing my screen real quick. Click here, and click here. Beautiful. You've dedicated a bit of time to Easy Red Mine, time you could have obviously invested into anything else, or you could have invested elsewhere. And we would be fools to not appreciate the time that you have given us. So allow us to make it valuable. My name is Lukáš Hubka, and you have joined a webinar called Discover Easy Red Mine. We've released a new version, and it's always a good time to catch up and see what's new. What's new, and for some of you, what has been our core and stable value. Today is all about the software, all about the product. It makes sense to have someone from the product team here to lead the session, right? So allow me to introduce and welcome Eric, our product owner. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Lukáš. Thanks for introducing. Hello, everyone.
Oh, of course. We've got about 200 people registered for the webinar, and I can feel some of you asking, Discover User Red Mind, what does that mean exactly? Now, this slide exactly for you then. Every meeting needs to have an agenda. The intro, that one's boring, and we're almost done with that. What we need to address right after is why. Why do companies like Easy Red Mine? What challenges or pains does our software address? And we've creatively bundled that under the point two, the digital transformation. Once you know why, we will have to address the how. There are generally, I would say, two groups of people. One group of people wants to know the purpose of the software. The second group wants to see the software and they want to try and find their own solutions. We've got both groups covered here today for today's session because Eric's going to go just a little bit into details, just a little bit into the actual software itself. Now, we are also planning to do a Q&A at the end, and for that I would like to ask you, use the Q&A button in your Zoom application. It's quite important because it can be very difficult to navigate questions in the chat, so use the Q&A button. We might not be able to answer everything, of course, but we will do our best. Whatever we do not answer here online, we will definitely handle through our consultants, through our sales, or through our pre-sales, or we'll generally take it offline and do what needs to be done with it. And this thing that I'm saying right now, there's actually an encouragement for you all. Engage with us. We pay nice money to our salespeople, so make them earn it. Don't hold back. Feel free to tell them that I approved all kinds of your silly questions. Just go wild. Ask them whatever you need to, because at the end of the day, that's what we are here for. You need to learn more about Easy Red Mind, right? One more detail before moving forward. This webinar is being recorded. The recording will be shared in a day or two, and feel free to share amongst your organization or amongst your colleagues. Whoever needs to know more about Easy Red Mine, give them the recording, tell them, watch this, and you will get your dose of the software. Now, digital transformation. This is exactly the topic that introduces the purpose of Easy Red Mine. This is exactly the spot where you should start listening to someone qualified. So this is exactly the right moment to ask Eric to jump in. Eric, do you mind?
Of course not. I'll be happy to share a little bit more about it.
Beautiful. I've stopped
Uh,
sharing. Your turn.
mhm. Okay, very good. Just 1 second.
Of course. I'll smile nicely while you start sharing just to make sure that there's something entertaining to look at.
So just let me know once you see.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it quite fine. So you can go ahead.
Very good. So digital transformation, it's quite an interesting time to be alive. To be honest, I'm very curious about all these new technologies that are coming forward. And what I see when I look behind into the past is that there was a time when the main focus of everything was hardware. We were really working to develop good computers microchips, and so on. And then there was a time when there was the rise of personal computers in the 80s, 90s, and so on. And with that came a whole boom of software development and tech giants such as Microsoft and Apple that have come from that era and still are today. But the interesting part that I'm going to talk about today is this third one, the integrated systems era, because we live today in a time when hardware and software are coming together more than ever before. And think of the Internet of Things, think of autonomous cars, think of smart home appliances, think of robotics, and so on. Software is really creeping into every pore of life. And that is why Mark Andreessen famously said, software is eating the world. It's really going into everywhere, every nook and cranny. And that is why every company that has something to do with hardware is also becoming a software company. So you have this need to not only implement some sort of waterfall methodology to your work, but also a more agile approach because of the software side of things. And what do we do in this kind of landscape, this day and age, to stay competitive? Well, there's many answers to that, of course, but among other things, there's also the need to effectively manage complex projects. Projects are not only anymore just as maybe simple as they were before. They now include all this software side as well, cross team, cross department, and you need to have some sort of quick overview of everything that's happening, the bottlenecks, the tasks, the collaboration. So how to effectively manage complex projects becomes an important topic. To ensure operational continuity is a fancy way to say that after you build something, you need to support it. These days, you need to create bug fixes for the things that you ship out. You need to provide upgrades and so on. Even like it's hardly imaginable in the past, but these days you even update the new car features so that you can pay subscriptions for and so on. So there's this whole aspect of post-delivery support that needs to be covered as well. And if you want to stay competitive, you need to be able to scale efficiently. We will see in a short time what the issues are today with scaling. And lastly, but not least, definitely like a prominent feature of our time is data and the protection of data. We want to keep both personal and company data protected. So if we think about this in a more everyday, concrete sense, what are the challenges that we have? Well, I think that you, just like me, have worked or maybe still work in a company where you use different tools for different tasks. Maybe different teams and departments use different tools. Now, there's certain issues that come with that, and that is some sort of inefficiency, communication and data silos. There's issues with the ability to monitor from a bird's eye point of view to see the whole picture. And of course, scaling issues, as just mentioned, because if you have a fragmented work, it's very hard to scale it. As a result of this, there's no single system to manage both Agile and Waterfall, especially not in sync. You can have tools that enable resource management and allocation, but it would be great to have it all in one. And if you don't have this sort of bird's eye view all in one preview, then some teams and some people are underutilized, which leads to inefficiencies and delays. Or maybe you're giving too much work to people, stressing them out and maybe making them quit. There's similarly, just to what we discussed, if you don't have one tool that combines all these different aspects of work of the projects, then it's hard to have some real-time insight and reporting of the whole picture. And same for risk visibility, which may lead to budget overruns. Scope creep is the bane of project managers. And as mentioned before, not only do you deliver things, but you also want to support them afterwards. And you don't want this system to be something completely separate from the thing where you first built whatever you were building. So you want to have an ability to support the tickets, to support bug fixes and so on there as well. And yeah, scaling already mentioned, data already mentioned. So these are the challenges that we're facing. So I wonder, wouldn't it be great if there was such a platform where you had all in one, where you had project management, IT service management, source code management, both Agile and Waterfall all in one? Wouldn't it be great if it also had features for resource management, for reporting and real-time insights, for risk visibility, that it also had the ability to support tickets and bug processes and so on. And because it's all in one, it's easier to scale. And also to enable this kind of service in a safe way, either on an ISO certified cloud or private cloud, or even better, if you want full control over your data, it's possible, for example, on premise. Well, of course, I wouldn't be here talking about these things if such software didn't exist. So I'm happy to say that it does and that it is Easy8. And Lukáš is going to tell you a little bit more about a high-level overview of what Easy8 is. And then I'm going to share with you a feature demo so that you can see the app itself. So stay tuned.
I will be happy to. I will be happy to. Do you see the diagram on my screen? Beautiful, because I think it was Aristotle, the great mind of the past, who said, if you want people to understand your software, visualize it in a diagram. Or was it Socrates? I'm never quite sure about it. I'm getting my philosophers mixed up. Anyway, the picture kind of summarizes most of Eric's presentation. If you asked me to do a too long, don't read of the diagram, I would say that at Easy Software, we help technology teams deliver projects on time, optimize resources, collaborate effectively, and ensure customer satisfaction. And we do that through adaptive project and work management, IT service management, and source code management. All consolidated into one tool called Easy8. You have heard that name before, right? A European software platform powered by AI, as you can see on the diagram as well, available in cloud and on your own server, which is something that tends to be very, very important for our clients. This might be a nice little place to sort of stop for a second and mention our licensing. The three main pillars are obvious, right? The hybrid project management, the ITSM, and source code management. However, that does not mean that you need to go with the full bang. You can select what you need. I'm sure there are some of you that might need just a core set of functionalities focused on project management, and then add our help desk for ticketing and customer or internal support, for example. That's something you can definitely do. Jumping in slow can be a good move, and we are quite ready to consult that and help you with that, as I will be talking about it a little bit later into the webinar. While I am talking about licensing, you might want some visual support. See, I'm applying the Aristotle or Socrates wisdom again. So let me just jump in here real quick, and I'm going to move to our website, actually our pricing page. The diagram, by the way, that I was just showing is also taken from our website. So I definitely recommend to explore it, even if for just a bit. However, right now it's about understanding our licensing. As you can see, Easy8 Essentials, Business, Platform. You choose one of these, and then you have the option to implement add-ons. If you're unsure of what your license includes, just scroll down. This is by far the easiest or quickest suggestion that I can give. And then you can quickly learn what's included in each of these license levels. And I'm going to stop at extensions because these are actually add-ons. If you're unsure what any of this includes, learn more through the website or just set up a call with our colleagues and let them do their job. I just hope that this page and the table that you see right here, it should give you a lot more clarity as in how you can combine, how you can set up your Easy8 solution down the line once you're convinced on this webinar that the solution might give you a lot of support and a lot of help. Now, I hope that this gives a little bit of clarity, obviously in a very short time, because we want to focus on the product. This is a good time, I believe, to end this part of the webinar with a little poll. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to run the poll in just a second. Because now you have a nice opportunity to sort of weigh in on our activities moving forward by actually voting in here. The poll is very much sort of built around these three pillars that we spoke about: the hybrid project management, the IT service management, and the source code management or integrations in general. And the more feedback we have from the general public, the general audience, the more it's going to help us either focus on one of these parts moving forward, or just, planning for the presentations, doing workshops, or even preparing helpful content, videos, or basically anything that might be related to either one of these. I'm going to let this run for, I don't know, like 10, 20 seconds more, just to get the initial feedback in, because right now it is quite obvious that the hybrid project management is in the lead. I do know that you probably can't see the results real time, but as it stands right now, a good 82% of you voted for the hybrid project management. 34% of you voted for IT service management as well. So it doesn't really surprise me. Like, based on my experience with Easy8, it has always been the project management and then the whole ITSM, whether that's the help desk, asset and configuration, or if it's the knowledge base management, which has been sort of gaining more and more popularity as we're moving forward. All right. So I guess let's give it like 5 more seconds, and I'm gonna end the poll because we do want to move forward. I don't want to get stuck on the voting too much. All right, ending it. And I think a good idea might be to share the results in this case as well. Eric, can you confirm? Can you see the results?
Yes, I can see the results. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you to everyone who voted for this. I know that for many of you, you have this webinar sort of on the side screen while you're doing something else. So I appreciate the attention and appreciate the participation. This being done, I think I can sort of pass the word to once again to you, Eric, if you're okay with it.
Sure. Okay. So let me share the screen again. It seems people are mostly interested in the hybrid project management, and most people here are project managers. I'll try to focus more on that, but I'll still show you more or less everything. Okay, so sharing my screen. So as mentioned, I will show all aspects, but focus on some of those. And to start with, the most popular one is adaptive project management and reporting aspect, both Waterfall and Agile. I'll just exit this presentation view in order to show you the app itself. Okay, so here we are. Now, what you're looking at, it has lots of colors and looks maybe a bit overwhelming, but it shouldn't be, because this is fully customizable, doesn't have to look this way at all. This is your personal dashboard, which you can add many tabs to. You can put whatever widgets you would like here on your dashboard. What it looks like is therefore definitely up to you. And I want to show you how you do that. You go to customize, you select a widget, and there's many different types. It can be a list, it can be some sort of chart, it can be, I don't know, just text, calendar, attendance, one of our AI features, global Gantt, depends what you would like, risk matrix and so on. So let's go with, for example, basic stuff, which is list. And then each of these widgets can be on different types of entities. Here you can have a list of accounts, or maybe of code branches, or maybe a list of campaigns or tasks, projects, documents, leads, maybe a list of, I don't know, expenses and so on. So really there's a lot of room for customization. If I choose, for example, tasks here, then we see the filtering that is quite detailed. You can add all sorts of filters for so many different types of attributes that a task has. And then you can sort these filters. There's a sorting priority, so it can be sorted in multiple ways at once. You can choose what data you want to show and in what order. You can group results by some of these pieces of info, show as a tree, and so on. So there's quite a lot of power in the dashboards in order to really show whatever you would like to see. Okay, so we're deleting this one. Okay, so that's a personal dashboards. And then there's, of course, sometimes the need to have shared dashboards, which you also have. You can see them. You can fully customize them as well. And it can be used, for example, in a regular meeting where you always go through certain dashboards, certain projects, tasks, or a certain process of review. Or it can be a dashboard just in more of an informative nature for a certain team or department and so on. So these are dashboards, one of the main aspects of Easy Redmine. The two basic entities of Easy Redmine are projects and tasks. So let's have a look at those. If we go for, let's say, project here. So I was in a list of projects. Now I'm in the project itself. There's a, again, customizable dashboard. I can add here whatever I like. And again, customize button. It can be some description, can be project history, maybe you need to put comments on the project every week or something. It can be done. And you see here some modules. They're tabs, right? But you can add more. It's not the whole story. So for example, if I go here, settings, modules, I can add, for example, a wiki to this project or stakeholders, or I want to see all the documents related to it, or maybe test cases or requirements specifically, and so on. So these can be added. A project can also be set up with certain permissions and members who are in the project, and different roles and permissions added per person there, and other settings as well. As mentioned before, you can work in both Waterfall and Agile. So I'll just be covering some basic things. Waterfall approach, we have work breakdown structure. You are able to create tasks here, for example, new task, right? And structure them as you like. And even as you see, the blue ones here are projects. The other ones are tasks. I can create different task types. It can be development task or ticket or I don't know, bug and so on. And these can show in different colors. The legend can be viewed in different modalities. Here I'm seeing the task type, but if I want, maybe I can see a percentage of done if it's input in the tasks per assignee or whatever. Time spent ratio, for example, all the time on this project was spent mainly on one task and so on. It's quite interesting. And same for budget view, where you can see that most of the money spent went on certain tasks and projects. This takes into account time spent, which you can log into tasks. As somebody who's working on the task, you can log your time spent on that task there. This then can be viewed per team, per project, and so on, many different ways. So I think it's quite interesting for project managers because Easy Redmine really gives a lot of flexibility to set up the process your way. And Waterfall wouldn't be complete without Gantt. So if your tasks have a start and end date, there's going to be ability to create a Gantt chart. This can be broken down and so on. And there's an agile way of working with projects. For example, you can tie a Scrum board specifically to a certain project. It is also possible to have a completely separate Scrum board. If we have a look, there's a Scrum board for this team called Red Team. So whatever work comes their way will be handled on their dashboard. There's, of course, separate product backlog boards. There's also sprint review and planning board and so on. What we're looking at is just the current sprint work view. And this sprint has two goals. It has certain PBIs that developers are working on. There's a breakdown of these PBIs into smaller tasks that devs do. And there's either time or story points, estimate of effort on these, total estimates, a certain time for the sprint, and so on. So going back to the project, agile way of doing project can be also Kanban, for example. You can have a unified Kanban board, or you can have multiple ones for different things on the same tab, or different ones. As tasks progress from one, let's say, column from another, the status and assignee can change automatically. You can customize that if you go into the settings, for example, status change, assignee change, and so on. So then there's budgets, risks, and so on. So that's project mainly. And of course, projects are not the only important entity, tasks as well. If we go to a task view, we'll see that every task has some basic attributes such as status, assignee, the type of task, priority, due and start date, how much time you spent. You can easily log time. You can start a timer, or you can log time here. Yeah, there's many things that you can do with a task. And also you can add custom fields, probably as many as you like. But yeah, there's a description. It's possible to see on a task if there's some associated PBI on a development board and what is the status of that PBI. For example, if I add here information, as you can see, many things can be edited the way you like. So I see that, okay, this work development was done. It's possible if you have a Git integration feature to also see status of merge requests and tests and so on. Many different types of sections can exist under a task. Here we have, for example, budget activated here, so you can see that. And for each task, there is comments where you can have a whole discussion with your teammates and react to it about the task itself. The, let's say, log of time spent and a history of changes on the task, including the comments. So that's a little bit about the task. And I wanted to show you then a bit the other features that also exist when it comes to hybrid project management. There is a global Gantt view, so that you, as somebody who is a C-level or a department head and so on, you want to get a bird's eye view of everything that's happening in the company. What is the status, where we're at with work. In a similar fashion, you can see resources, who is doing what. It can be grouped per project, per user, per a certain period, or a user group if you prefer to do so, and see whether people are under or over allocated and so on. Their attendance is reflected here if they are on holidays or if they're working. Similarly for Agile, you can have a look per project or per team, and we see that the team has some capabilities. We have time reports, as logging time was mentioned, and this can also be translated into budgeting, as there are certain costs for time, timesheets, contractors, and so on. Calendar, where you can just input your tasks into your calendar to plan your day or week. Then there's attendance, as mentioned, risks, and so on. So I wouldn't go into too much details here. But yeah, I hope I've given you an idea of what hybrid project management might look like here. And I think you'll still see a bit more in this second and third part. So that was APMR. And now moving on to the second part, which is IT service management. There's 3 parts that we cover, but only one in this webinar. So there's HelpDesk, there's knowledge base, asset and configuration management. I will show you now HelpDesk, but just so you know, we also have knowledge base, which is an advanced wiki that is integrated with our tasks, and you can reference things from one place to another and so on. It's quite nice, and it can be used also for our knowledge assistant AI, which you will see later on. It can take that into the LLM. Okay, Let's show the help desk. So coming to the help desk, again, dashboard, which can be fully customized any way you like. But if we go into one of the tickets, you will see a bit more. So we're back in the issue entity, the task. This is type ticket. And it's so the main features here would be that once you get the ticket, there is a certain description. There's a attachment from usually some issue from a client that's showing you something somewhere, and you can have a whole conversation about it. Here, if I go into editing mode, you will see that whatever I would write here, I can, if I want to, send to the customer. Right from the ticket, I can communicate with the customer. If I, however, click on private comment here, I can communicate with my teammates, and these messages will not be seen by the customer. So I can have a whole discussion about how to resolve this issue with my teammates right here on the ticket. And same thing with customer communication, everything in one place. So that's really nice. Then, as mentioned, you are able to see if the ticket is connected to a certain product sprint board. Then you can see the status of some development tasks regarding this ticket. You can see if they're done or not. If you also have Git integration mentioned, you can see the status of the code, whether it's merged or not, and so on. Everything from the same ticket. And a really cool AI feature that we released just recently that will save a lot of time to help desk operators is the AI help desk assistant. So I will show you a bit more about this in the AI section that's coming a bit later. But what it does basically is it takes the information that you feed it with, that you made it learn, and it answers or actually provides a draft of an answer to you, which you can then use. And so as far as we've worked with it, has been quite a time saver. I've also used it to do debugging, which was quite interesting use case to discover. Very nice. So that's IT service management. And the third part here is source code management. There were not as many people interested in the poll in this, so I'll just keep it brief. There's some benefit for project managers. There's some benefit for developers themselves. So let's see what that is. I've actually already told you about this, but I haven't shown you. You can see on the task itself, as mentioned before, there's the PBI from the Scrum board, but also you can see this status of the merge requests and the tests here, if you like to see that, of course. It might help so you don't have to get that information always from the team. And there's also the ability for developers to create a new branch right from the task itself. They can also create a merge request right from the task itself, add test cases, and so on. And for tech leads, there is also, if we go into the right-hand side menu, scroll down to Git integration, you would get to this place, which is the Git integration feature, and it has repositories, code requests, all the different commits and tests and members and so on. And if you're interested in more details, you can see more details about a certain merge request and so on. I think it's quite useful to have it already from the tool where you are working on the tasks, right? So doing project management, you see also the code, you see also the help desk ticket, it's all integrated. So good, that's the source code management part. And lastly, but not least, is Easy8. We have currently 6 AI features. I'm gonna show you them now, but just to mention that we split them in personal AI, service AI, and project AI based on what they help with. Personal AI is kind of general. It helps anybody who is using the app. The help desk assistant obviously is in the service aspect of the app, and there are 2 AIs that help with project management itself, this project planner and project status update. So let's have a look at Easy AI. Okay, here we are. As just mentioned, 6 features. Let's go to the first one. And my personal favorite is this one, Knowledge Assistant. So Knowledge Assistant is this little head icon here that I can open. So basically, AI, which you can ask some question. Now, but the interesting part is how it is configured. You can feed it information about your company, about your websites, and it can also be set to recurringly go onto these websites to always keep itself updated and so on. So basically, it can act as, you can feed it documents, right? Any sort of information. So to become an expert on your company knowledge, so it becomes a senior colleague in a way that is able to help you answer questions that you may have about your work. That's one use case. Another use case is we, by default, feed it information about Easy Redmine, the user manual, features, how it works, how to set things up in the settings, and so on, which I found very useful because when I don't know something, I go and ask it how to use something, how to set it up. For example, here we have this example of how to assign coworkers to tasks. So let's try it out. Okay, to assign coworkers in Easy Redmine, you have 3 options. You can do this, this, or that. Okay, cool. So it is able to answer my questions. And also, I've used it to debug things as well. When something wasn't working, support was asking me about this, and I'm like, okay, I don't know at this moment, but let me just first ask Knowledge Assistant. And I managed to debug the issue myself, and no need for calling support. So you can do it yourself. And the third use case is that Knowledge Assistant is actually able to pull information from your work, from the projects, from the tasks, and is able to answer some of that as well. It's not yet as full as we would like it to be in the future, but we're working on. Okay, so that is Knowledge Assistant. Secondly is Write Assistant. Of course, AI is very useful when it comes to writing. If we have a look at, let's say, this task, I want to create a task and I want it to have short checklist for project handover to a new project manager. I highlight this, I click here, and I want to continue writing, and then it creates this short list that I want. As you've seen, however, when I highlighted this and clicked on the AI icon, is that there's multiple things that I can make it do. And I'll show you now one more example, which is the example of fixing spelling and grammar. Of course, nothing too wow, but very useful. I want to write a short or bigger text. I don't mind to make spelling errors and so on, because I know that at the end of the writing, I'll just highlight it all. I click fix spelling and grammar. It does the job. I click replace, and then it would basically replace here everything. So quite neat. Then there's AI task summary. So as somebody who has done project management myself, I know how difficult it is to stay on top of things. You are going from one task to another, maybe sometimes 10 different tasks in 5 minutes. And you want to get a sense of what a task is about quickly and easily. So we have created AI task summary to do that, which reads from the description, but also from the comments to be able to give you a short summary, bullet points, short text, or maybe even summarize a to-do list from the comments that you and your colleagues were discussing down there. So let's give it a try. A short text summary. This is what this is about. Okay, very nice. And yeah, there's then HelpDesk Assistant. I promised to show you that it's quite a time saver. So how it works, we have a ticket here. Somebody is asking, what Agile tools do you have? How to set them up? Okay, let's say I don't want to do extensive research and so on. At the beginning, I just want some quick start to resolving this ticket. I go here, HelpDesk Assistant, please give me a draft answer. and it uses the knowledge that we've set it up with, reads the information here in the ticket and gives you a draft answer. If I then like what it has written, I click paste as comment. It's down here. I can edit it before sending. And then if I'm happy with it, I can either send to customer or I can start the discussion with a colleague. So quite a time saver, especially when you feed it the right information. So it's able to, over time, even improve it, right? As you learn more and more things, as you resolve more and more cases, you can have an internal, for example, knowledge base with this from which it can read information. Then number 5, we have some tools, AI tools for project managers specifically, which I hope you will like. There is AI project planner, which is able, this one would take some time, like 2 minutes, I think, from when it processes everything. So I'm not gonna show you the functionality itself, but I'll show you a little bit how it's supposed to look like. So let's say that you have documents of your project, maybe some contract that you've, collaboration contract with some other company and so on. Anyway, you have a document which outlines something that you're gonna be doing in this project. You input this a project creation. You have one tab, which is AI Project Planner. You click there, you upload your document. And then what the AI Project Planner does is it creates a project for you. This project is going to have, as I've shown before, it's going to have a dashboard and it's going to have a description filled with the information. There's also going to create some other tabs, including, for example, risks and I don't know, some project management methodology that you can choose. That kind of tab is going to be created with that kind of info. And it's also going to create a work breakdown structure. So it's going to create a hierarchy of tasks already here in WBS, which then you can, of course, fine tune and edit as you like. These tasks will have start and end dates already, so that you will have already a Gantt chart available as well. So that's AI Project Planner. And lastly, we have AI project status. It is a feature that we're working on right now. Basically, it's going to read from the project, the tasks under that project, the comments, the activity feed and history of changes, right, on the project and those tasks. And then it's going to be able to give you an update on what is the current status of that project. So we are planning to work on all of these features to improve them even more in the future. They've just been released now, and I think they're quite cool, which I hope that they're going to be able to be useful, right, to save you time and nerves. So that is Easy AI. Okay, that kind of concludes my part of the presentation, the feature demo, and I give word back to Lukáš, who is going to present you some few additional cool features and benefits of Easy Redmine.
Well, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. You should see my screen with the number 4, right?
Yes.
Beautiful. Because obviously we are talking here about Easy Redmine 14. For some of you, this is a new thing. For some of you, you haven't been that familiar with Easy Redmine. And some of you, you have been going sort of back and forth and you have been following us for several years. I know for a fact that there is like at least a dozen of you that I've spoken to like 6-7 times over the past 2-3 years. So it's just sort of trying to explore when is the good time to actually jump into Easy Redmine. So I'm just going to run through other features that are either have been present for some time or are kind of new with the version 14. One thing that is sort of powered by AI as well to a certain degree are translations. In the past, we have had a selection of translations for our application, for just a few of those, because obviously it is very time demanding, resource demanding to keep all the translations up to date at all times. We have been able to expand this. There are some translations, some major languages that we still do manually, but thanks to AI, we are now able to have much more languages in our applications through the compute translations. Custom branding is something that we have been dedicating a lot of resources to as well. This is a specific service for I would say bigger companies, enterprises especially, but I have seen many of the smaller ones that simply want easier in mind to look like their own. What you can do through the custom branding services, you can change the color scheme, you can slightly change the user interface. And if, for example, you would be building easier in mind through the way of ITSM and you would like to access your or give your clients access and you would like to make easier in mind look like it's a piece of your company, that's something that is achievable with custom branding. Accessibility itself is something that would be held very dear by a few of our friends from the German government. For example, I know that we've had like a few public sectors that were very heavy into accessibility. So we've done a lot in this area over the past 2.5 years, whether that's, enhancing the screen, adding new themes, or overall, the support for screen readers. There's a lot of things that have happened. And if any one of you either work with people with disabilities or are sort of pushed in this direction because of the legislative or the regulations of your countries, you can sort of be sure that with an Easy Red Mind we do a lot because, like I said, we are very heavy into some governments and we have made some commitments in this area. I've already mentioned closer to the beginning of the webinar that we provide Easy Red Mind both in cloud and we can also do on-premises or server solutions. And the Docker installation is something that we were able to introduce recently that makes things considerably easier as for on-premise installations. It's much easier to install, much easier to maintain. And at the end of the day, I can speak from an experience that on-premise solutions, it's a solid niche for Easy Red Mind. And I'm sure that there's many of you that have been running your own service for project management softwares. And many other competitors have been sort of slowly forcing you to move into cloud. Maybe you don't want to, or you simply cannot do that. Easy Red Mind in that case is a good alternative because we are heavily committed to continue providing the service solutions. And then obviously, as I have mentioned at the beginning of the call, we are doing major yearly updates. It's usually at the end of summer, let's say mid to late September. And in between, there's a lot of minor releases that either bring in some smaller features, smaller improvements, or doing quick bug fixes. That's what I meant to say. So yeah, if you choose to go with the SaaS, with the software as a service, you can be sure that all our cloud hosting is up to security standards of today. We have 3 certificates, 3 ISO certificates that sort of make us more credible in this area, I would say. We are obviously happy to provide more details, so you can just go to our website and learn more about our cloud infrastructure. That is, if you're considering to go with the Easy Red Mind Cloud. But I do want to stop a little bit on onboarding because I've made that promise earlier. I think a little assurance is sort of required here. I'm sure that many of you wouldn't have a problem implementing Easy Red Mind on your own. However, the value of professional services is unquestionable. Switching from one project management tool to another is definitely a project that needs to be addressed properly. And we've done that countless of times and we're ready to participate. We sort of position ourselves as your crucial partner in the process because if you do not succeed, you won't renew Easy Red Mind the next year. It's as simple as that, and that would suck. That would definitely suck for us. We're building a long-term relationship here. Our clients get access to a video academy to use it as a source of knowledge. We've got accelerated onboardings developed, including a dedicated time with our consultants. And we can address the proof of concepts, pilot runs, step-by-step implementations, trainings, workshops, Q&As, you name it. We have sort of, over the time, we have figured out the best approach to launch Easy Red Mind through many and many implementations. I would say through trial and error way back in the past. Luckily, it is trial and success these days. Defining the deployment team, setting up resource milestones, setting up the definition of done, selecting and onboarding internal sponsors and power users, providing training, acting as an on-call support through the process, focusing on change management. That's just a few aspects of we can help with in this area. So once again, it's sort of like a call to arms or a suggestion to engage with us and keep talking to us, because that's about it. We are getting closer and closer to the end of the presentation itself. As you've heard, Easy8 is a software covering the hybrid project management, the IT service management, and source code management. I'm just going to leave the key benefits on the slide for a moment, just to sort of summarize what Easy8 can do for you, because it can consolidate and save. It can give you context across informations, across multiple teams, sort of break the silos, if you will. The overall goal is to get your projects under control, to make sure that you're earning as much money from your projects as you can, to deliver them on time, to deliver them on budget, or to be able to report on them and effectively figure out where in the process you might have gone wrong, to make sure that you're not repeating the same mistake. If you go in with our cloud service, obviously you need to guarantee some uptime. If you need to guarantee some uptime to your clients, that's what our ITSM is for. We are heavily working on our Easy AI, because we do believe that it is the voice of the future, even though it gets a little bit annoying nowadays, like hearing AI from every little corner. However, when it comes to Easy8, we are working with data, we are working with information, and it's crucial for us to make data-driven decisions. So if there is a place to utilize AI, it's definitely these kinds of services and these kinds of softwares. And then obviously what our clients want to do is they want to protect their IPs and their data. We have many clients that are sort of going through the digital transformation, and they have been dedicated to their own service for quite a while, and they are very worried about moving to cloud because of the security reasons or internal regulations. To those clients, we offer a pretty good solution, since we can stick on premise. Start trials. I think the slide says it quite simply. You can now go to our website and start a free trial that runs the Easy8 version 14, so you can test a lot of what we spoke about. You can definitely engage with our sales, with our pre-sales, with our consultants to share your pains, share your challenges that you're facing, and try to resolve it. We do not want to just show you the application. We want to find a cure to your pain. That is sort of our goal. And I do believe that we have a few questions that we might want to go through right now. So I think they were very much related to the hybrid project management part of it. So first question, how to enable the option for the estimated time allocated to a team member to be locked, basically, so they can't, let's say, book more hours than they were allocated. That would be, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, that would be just a case of like roles and permissions and making sure which custom fields the user can edit, right?
Sorry, can you, sounds like a complicated question. Can you say again?
I think the simple way I can put it is, if you can lock some custom fields on a task for a regular team member, so they can't modify, so they can't change it. So you set up a task, you give them this task should take 20 hours, and you want to make sure that the assigned person cannot change it to 25, for example.
Okay. There's many features. I wish I could have an answer to every single detail. I don't have a full answer that I'm confident in right now. So I would like to address this one maybe later
Sure,
on
this is
after.
definitely something that can be addressed with our sales and the pre-sales combined to organize a sales demo. So if you haven't opened a trial account, make sure to do so, and then you will get contacted by our sales team and just ask them to have a presentation, give them these pains. But to me, based on what I've been through, this should be achievable, because this is just a role of like playing with roles and permissions and making sure that some people can do more than others, for example, which obviously is something that is definitely achievable. There's a second question, and that's how to calculate the remaining hours on the main dashboard. I mean, you set an estimated time, and then you compare it with spent time, and you need to calculate the difference. Is that possible in Easy8?
It's a lot of time questions. Right.
It's very much spend time oriented, but I do believe that this is like a classic case of computed custom field. That's how I would approach it.
I think yes, is. I wish again so many features. There's probably best way to answer some of these questions is to simply start a trial, go for the knowledge assistant on the AI page and ask it questions there. I would like to be an expert of every single detail of the app. Unfortunately, I'm not, to be very honest. So answer as best as I can. This one, I'm not fully sure, but I think it's a computed custom field, yes.
I would do a computed custom field as well. Just for your reference, computed custom field just basically allows you to do classic mathematic operations with custom fields. So you can have two custom fields. One says a value of 100 and the other says a value of 50. And you can just go, give me custom field A and deduct custom field B and give me the result, which seems like a pretty strong case of what you've mentioned here. A third question is, how can I display like any project management tool like the earned value management on the dashboard, for example? That would be very simple. When you're on the trial, I don't have it open right here, but when at the very beginning of the webinar, when you saw Eric add in modules, there's a lot of modules that you can choose from, and one of those is earned value management, resource management, Gantt charts, your custom filters, graphs. There's a lot of things that you can choose from. It very much depends on what you would like to have. So one of the first questions in the implementation process would definitely be, what is your role? And what do you want to see when you log into your Easy8 in the morning, for example? And based on that, we will be able to customize your homepage to make sure it suits your needs.
Yes, there's a budgets module, there's a earned values module. I'm just looking at it right now. So yeah, just add it to your project.
Just sort of calculating everything, I would say there's like dozens of options. We've got 3 minutes left and we've got 3 questions. So let's look at those. One is, in new versions, searching in assets changed to text. Is it now possible to search value in custom field lookup format? To be honest, I'm not sure if I understand this one.
It's just the autocomplete of a field. If that is the case, then I would be inclined to say yes. If that is the question, right? I hope I understand it correctly.
Otherwise, since this is probably a little more the difficult one, definitely would take that offline. Thank you to Victoria, who has confirmed that one of those questions before were answered correctly. There is a question from Zilvinas. Is it possible to restrict users to delete spend time entries, but allow them to edit? So the point is, they should be able to change it from 8 to 7, for example, but they can't just straight up delete it.
There's a very detailed roles and permissions settings. So I believe, yes, I've seen many sort of permissions related to this management of time and tasks and so on. So I believe that's one of them.
If you've got an application running, you go to the more, to top right button, you click on administration, and then you go to roles and permissions, and then you need to make sure that you're editing the role that this person has assigned within that particular project, and you'll be able to go through all the checkboxes and all the roles and permissions. All right, time for one more question. Can you show us, well, probably not show us, but can you quickly show us how to create a dashboard list with data from a custom table? Christoph says he cannot select custom tables.
Custom tables. Okay. Let's see. I can try quickly. I'm just curious by custom table, meaning like some Excel that you upload, I guess.
Let's treat it as an import, because at the end of the day, when you're importing any data into Easy8, you need to like import them into some entries, right? Times, spend time, estimated time, or anything else. Oh, Christoph actually clarifies. He says data from the asset and configuration table. So from one of the add-ons that we have.
Okay.
Good to know. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. So here we're looking at the list widget, and yeah, asset and configuration is here. So it would be this. So custom table, and then you can choose which custom table you want. I'm not sure if there's data on this demo app that would be able to show, but now if I click save page and go back, okay, yeah, it's showing me a list. from the select a custom table here from asset configuration.
That would be the basic answer. Otherwise, we definitely have internal experts on the asset and configuration management. And in case there's like a more in-depth look required, then I would definitely recommend to set it up.
I'm happy to, in general, to hear these questions that are quite detailed and so on, because I believe that Easy Redmine is actually an app that is very, very goes into details of customization, what it's able to display and provide. So it is the right place to ask this type of questions. And yeah.
Beautiful. In that case, you can stop sharing. We can say our goodbyes. I can thank everyone again for joining. We are 1 minute past the 1 hour mark, and we always try to stick within the hour. Start trials, engage with us. Anything you want to say, Eric, before we close this out?
Just thanks to everybody, and I hope you find this useful.
Thank you so much. There's going to be a little survey once I end the Zoom webinar. Anonymous, don't you worry. And otherwise, have a beautiful rest of the day. See you.